Hey fellas, AC here. Hope you're doing well and thanks for joining. This video, when I was thinking about what to pick, has taught me a few things and I'll reveal all of that in this video. So, subject of this video is to pick 10 fragrances and that's it. Yeah, you don't have any more access to your collection, just pick 10. And this list is 10 niche fragrances, alright? And I had to think very hard and I had to think objectively and I had to think dispassionately. And what that resulted in is one of the life lessons that all of us could benefit from, including myself. So the fragrances I left out they've surprised me because they're my absolute favorites and they're not on this list. 1740 by Histories De Parfums. I left this out. This is one of my absolute favorites. I left out another fragrance which I regard as a stunning, versatile, all-weather fragrance. Bal d'Afrique by Byredo. I love this fragrance. I left it out. And I left out a fragrance which I call the emperor of all fragrances. One of the best fragrances ever created. Jubilation 25. By Amouage. Yeah, I left these out. And the reason I left them out was, once you've found a fragrance that you think is the best ever, your curiosity dips. And the whole reason I buy niche fragrances is because I want to experience an art in a bottle. I don't buy fragrances, expensive niche fragrances, for wearability. Yeah? So I don't have a single creed in my collection because creeds are beautiful, they're wearable, they're lovely, but they don't give me the creativity I crave. Yeah. So the reason I rejected these fragrances from my list was, I said, if I constantly keep picking this, then I'm limiting myself. I want to experience a bit more. I want to think about fragrances a bit differently. And niche perfumery is exactly that. It's think about stuff which you wouldn't conceive. And that's what I try to buy. That's what my focus has been. When I buy niche, I want to buy something which is creative. So I stay away from houses like Creed, Tom Ford, by Kilian's. I don't buy these fragrances. They're expensive. They don't give me the art in the bottle I want to buy. They don't hold my interest for long enough. So I get decants. I've got many decants from Tom Ford and Creed. So that's my philosophy. So without further ado, let's start with the first one. So my favorite category in perfumery is Chypre. I love Chypre. And I'll go into details about what Chypre should be, but I'll pick a Chypre and then explain to you why I love it so much. This fragrance, fellas, is Guerlain Derby. And this is the new formulation. This is an iconic fragrance. Yeah? Man. This fragrance takes a lot of time for you to understand the real depth of this fragrance. This basically, in a nutshell, is a green, oily, spicy Spanish leather. But the execution is so vivid and you can wear this in any weather. Yeah? Looks as if this is a cold weather fragrance. It isn't. It's an all-time, all-weather fragrance. That's why I wanted to pick it in my top 10 list. And this is so elaborate, this is so big. It's, if I was to give you an analogy, in the painting world, in the art world, this is the Guernica. This is the Guernica of fragrances. Yeah? But it takes a long time to understand this fragrance, and by God, when you understand this fragrance, then you become, a faithful lover of this fragrance. This is Guerlain, a house I respect a lot. I firmly believe you can't go wrong with Guerlain. Any Guerlain. They don't make bad fragrances. But this is the cherry on the cake. One of the finest leather Chypre I have in my collection. I love this house. I love the fragrance and I love Chypre as a fragrance category. Guerlain. Derby. So that's number one. As I said, continuing on the subject of art in a bottle. Another note I really like is incense. Yeah, and that's why a lot of people will be surprised why I didn't pick Jubilation 25, because I've got something. This fragrance is from a house which hardly gets any talk, and the name of the fragrance is equally amazing. The house first, and the perfumer. The name of the perfumer is Dominique D'Urbana. He's a niche master perfumer, and he runs a house called La Via del Profumo, or if you go online, it is profumo.it, Italy. And the name of the fragrance is Hindu Kush. This fragrance is so stunning, guys, and it's named after a mountain range where four worlds meet, if you like. Yeah. And this fragrance, the moment I smelt it, I knew that I have smelt it before. And the fragrance's name is a very popular, very niche, very hard to get slumber house, None. If None is a nuclear powerhouse, very strong, extremely on your face, this one is a light bulb. It just is a beacon of light. This is one of those fragrances which have a psychosomatic effect on me. It really calms me down. So what does this have? This has incense, as I said. It has woods. It has pepper. So just like the Hindu Kush mountains, they're completely barren. This is so big, completely barren. But all the mighty rivers flow through the Hindu Kush mountains. One of them is the Kabul River. Exactly. This fragrance is so dry and barren. Once you smell it on paper, you think, oh, this is nothing. But you wear it. Once you wear it, it has an amazing effect on you. Fantastic fragrance. Hindu Kush by La Via del Profumo. That's the second one. So, third. So I'm talking about art in a bottle. So let's talk about a fragrance which is the most misunderstood, most criticized fragrance from this group. So here is the bottle. I recently got hold of it and I've used only 3 sprays of it. The very first spray told me that everything that I've read about or known about this fragrance is utter garbage. Okay? Amouage Gold. Okay? This fragrance has a non-magnetic cap. That means this is vintage. I got this from a man, paid heavy amount of money for this. I've used it only 3 times. The very first spray and its dry down told me that this is exactly what gold should be like. This fragrance is basically given to state guests of the King of Oman. So princely visits, stately visits, this is what they're given. Apparently this is the signature scent of Putin. I can see why, guys. This is regal. This fragrance, once it dries down, reminds me of Roja Dove's Diaghilev. And I think Diaghilev is one of the most amazing, creative, outstanding fragrances I've smelled in the recent times. The moment I smelled the dry down, I knew I don't want to buy Diaghilev. £900 Diaghilev. Amouage Gold. So much rubbish on Fragrantica about this fragrance. Do yourself a favor, guys, and just spray it, let it dry down and see what effect it has. As long as you're not new to fragrances, as long as you have experience, you would absolutely jump for joy. This fragrance uses florals along with animalic notes and musk. That's the main story. It's a floral, musky, animalic scent. It has castoreum by bagfuls, but once you smell it, you'll know what castoreum, florals and musk can do. Old-fashioned, regal, princely. An amazing fragrance. I just, you know what? This fragrance has completely shaken my belief system of fragrances, of perfumery. Never judge a book by its cover. Coming to books, this fragrance reminds me of an amazing book which I almost did not read, right? Because of its title. This is the book, guys. Yeah? The book's name, Sapiens, A Brief History of Mankind. And the author is Yuval Noah Harari, right? This book, this title means sapiens, human beings. Who wants to read about human beings? Read this book. This will make you a better human being. This will help you appreciate what humans are and what they should be. There's also a sequel to this book, which is equally amazing. I haven't got it yet. But this book and Amouage Gold, these two things have changed my perception. One about perfumery, one about us, human beings, right? Next on my list, guys, I'm going to go to a fragrance which is my second favorite perfumery category, and that is Fougère. This fragrance, guys, is from a house which I respect. I absolutely adore this house, and this fragrance is called 1725 Casanova by Histories De Parfums. Guys, this fragrance is magical. All the previous three fragrances are strong, they just go for it. Yeah, this fragrance is called Casanova, and you know Casanova has a reputation. Yeah, you'll never meet him, you'll never feel him, but you feel the reputation. This fragrance is exactly that. It's a barbershop fragrance which is compared frequently to Invasion Barbare by MDCI, which is probably 3 times the price of this fragrance. But this is a barbershop fragrance to end all barbershop fragrances. The moment you spray it, you will see the brilliance and the grace. One of the most finest executions of lavender I've ever smelt. It's a fantastic fragrance, fabulous fragrance. A 10 out of 10. In fact, all these fragrances are 10 out of 10. So, moving on. Next on my list is a fragrance which I had aspirations to buy for a very, very long time. And it is extremely expensive. It is the most expensive fragrance I've got in my collection. It is Roja Dove's Enigma. Man, the bottle itself tells you you're holding something special in your hands. And the moment you sniff, you know you're smelling something special. You're smelling something which is going to make you smell absolutely princely. This fragrance, is so interesting because it starts off smelling like grape soda, Coca-Cola, that kind of vibe. Then comes in tobacco, then come in woods, fruits. There is so much going on. This fragrance is basically one of those fragrances that you apply when you're by yourself in this corner, reading a book, or in your own company. Because, this fragrance has a big story to tell you, and it'll take you on a memory. You'll remember all the fine things that have happened to you in your life. Yeah? Like the Salvador Dali painting. That's what this fragrance does to me. There's so much going on. It's just outstanding. One of the best. I can't even classify this fragrance, I can't just say one of the best tobacco fragrance. It is not the best tobacco. It's so many things in this fragrance. Creation E or Enigma by Roja. Next on the list is a fragrance. I wanted to pick a proper oud fragrance because I really like oud. I picked something, then I dropped it. I said, no, I want something else. And this fragrance is an oud fragrance with the most outstanding interpretation or execution of oud. Yeah? This is Rare Fidelis by Histories De Parfums. Why is this fragrance so special? Why did I pick it over Cashmere, my Arabian oud? Why did I pick it over Colonia oud by Acqua di Parma? I have full bottles of them. Because the fragrance does so much. This is way, way beyond what a normal oud fragrance does. This is oud. This has got Laotian oud, but it has beautiful note of coffee. One of the finest executions of coffee and oud. I cannot praise this fragrance enough. And the bottle of rose gold is proper justification. This not only is expensive, it smells expensive, it makes you feel expensive. One of the finest Laotian oud. I cannot praise this fragrance enough. These are all just amazing. I wear them when I feel really special. So we're done with 6. I'm moving on to the 7th fragrance. As you can see, these fragrances, apart from 1725, have low wearability. You'll have to think about occasions. My next niche fragrance, or next few, are fragrances that I don't have to think about much. In fact, the next fragrance is a fragrance which I think is one of the finest tobacco fragrances. So I'll tell you my favorites. Absolute favorite, Cherokee, not in the list. One of the finest tobacco scents. Parfums de Mali, Herod, fantastic tobacco fragrance. Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford, not in this list. Another fantastic one is Volutes by Diptyque, not in this list. It is Tabac Rouge by Phaedon. My word, I love tobacco. If there was a finer tobacco note ever, in my opinion, this is the fragrance, guys. It is compared to Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. The only difference is this does not have any vanilla. It has a beautiful execution of cinnamon and beautiful tobacco mixed with, I think, some powdery notes and honey. So honey tobacco, in fact, Fumier Turk, my Serge Lutens, is considered one of the finest tobacco scents. I think this is better than that because I have got a fragrance which is quite similar to Fumier Turk. But this one is just outstanding. It's in a different league of all tobacco scents I've ever smelled, and I've smelled many. Tobacco happens to be one of my favorite notes, apart from leather and oud. But boy, Tabac Rouge is hands down the most amazing tobacco fragrance I have ever smelled. And I'll do a top 10 list soon. So, next on my list is a fragrance which I think is a melting pot of culture. Yeah, this fragrance is compared to a Serge Lutens fragrance known as Féminine du Bois. I have smelled both. I like both. But the fragrance I'm going to show you next is probably at least twice as better and more creative than Féminine du Bois. This fragrance is from the house of Jovoy, another house which doesn't get any talk. And the name of the fragrance is L'Enfant Terrible. This fragrance is basically, it means a terrible child. Posh snobs. Children are never terrible. So this fragrance, guys, is basically an oriental, and it has notes which I love. Dates. Yeah, it has got spices like cinnamon, coriander. It has got orange. It is a fantastic melange. It's like a melting pot of culture. And it has this note which is supposed to be the terrible child, which is cumin. I have no problems with cumin. But this cumin note here just runs around and creates a ruckus in a beautiful, stately home. That's all the fragrance is all about. This is a concept. It's a beautiful concept. I love wearing this fragrance, and it is extremely luxurious. That's all I have to say about L'Enfant Terrible. So I've done 6 and 2, 8. Next one. Okay, next one. This is going to knock you for a 6. Okay, here it is. This is a fragrance which I want to get a full bottle of. I don't have a full bottle of this fragrance, but I have reviewed this. This is Roja Dove's Oligarch. Guys, I can't even begin to tell you how much I love this fragrance. I'll get a full bottle of it. This fragrance has 25 notes, 4 transformations. I've done a detailed review of this fragrance. I classify this fragrance as a citrus aromatic, but it's more than that. The moment one spray will tell you that you're wearing something absolutely stunning. Yeah, it elevates you. Yeah. So the only story I can tell you about this fragrance is I was once in a conference and there was this girl who was probably 10 out of 10. Looks wise, brain wise, she was absolutely amazing. I was sitting not far from her. She must have smelled this fragrance. This is the effect I'm talking about, what it has on people. And the moment she smelled it, obviously we were talking, but not too much. We were in a conference. This girl started hovering around me like a planet, literally. So I've never seen a fragrance have an enormous amount of effect on the opposite sex as this one. If you wanted a superficial lift of personality, this is what I would recommend. Oligarch by Roja. I've reviewed it in full. Have a look. If somebody comes and tells me that they want to basically project an image of a millionaire, very attractive person, I'd recommend Oligarch. I have nothing better to recommend than Oligarch. In fact, I'll get a full bottle. I love this fragrance so much. So number 10. Now here was a contest. As you can see in this list, I haven't got a single gourmand because I just don't like gourmand fragrances. In fact, I like gourmand, but I don't like sweet gourmands. So I said, what is it that I'll pick? And it was a very difficult one. So I went for two, and it's a tie. The fragrance that I went for are Feve Deliseuse by Cristian Dior, which I think is an amazing, outstanding tonka-based fragrance, buttery bitterness. It is just outstanding. This fragrance is amazing. And Milano Caffe by La Via del Profumo. I've done a mistake. The bottle I showed you first, this one is Milano Caffe, this one is Hindu Kush with the dome. So I just had the bottles change. So this is a tie for the 10th position, and that is Milano Caffe, which is one of the most amazing coffee-based fragrances in my collection. I've reviewed it in full. Do have a look. And Feve Deliseuse by Cristian Dior. I still have to review this, but I think it's an outstanding gourmand. Outstanding, but very expensive. So I went for a decant. So, guys, I hope you like the list. I also hope that you understand the concept behind my choice of selection. Yeah, my reason I buy niche is not to please people. I buy niche to experience genuine, real perfumery. If you have any recommendations for me that I should be trying, let me know. I like art in a bottle. To me, niche is exactly or should be that. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.